Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing on with our coverage of the alpha footage of Assassin's Creed 3. That's right, we're going to milk one more video out of this. To be honest, I'm quite enjoying this. I like looking back at the Assassin's Creed games that could have been, the mechanics that may have been forgotten about or incorporated later into future titles, and honestly, I would like to do this for the other games as well. I wouldn't mind a look at like the early version of Unity and Syndicate. And so today we've got another video which shows alpha and beta gameplay footage of Assassin's Creed 3. I don't know when this was from, but we're going to react to it. We're going to have a look through it and see what kind of elements they were dealing with, what got cut, and what made it into the final release. If you want to watch the previous videos I've done on this topic, I've done a video looking through the alpha gameplay footage of Assassin's Creed 3, and I've also done a video looking a bit more in-depth at the original outfit for Connor and how it compares to the final release. Those should be relatively recent in the channel, so you should be able to see them quite quickly if you want to get caught up to speed on where we're at, but if not a problem, this video will work entirely as a standalone. So, without further ado, let's get into this. This is some very blurry gameplay. Okay, already. We're pausing it already. It's Ezio. Big surprise. What's he doing here? Well, it looks like the original version, before they'd even designed Connor's outfit, they just used the Brotherhood version of Ezio. We'll see him a little bit more. Look, he's even still got the crossbow on his back. We'll see this as we go on. They are pretty much just importing the model straight from Brotherhood. And look at that, even the cape physics and everything. I know we're looking at an image, right, that is very pixelated right now, but I can tell using the TISM that, we're 14 seconds in, man, we're going to be here all day again. The red part of the coattails aren't moving, which tells me that even though they are just importing the Brotherhood version of Ezio's robes, there is something different about them. There is something off. Something has been altered because the coattails aren't moving, so I don't think any of the physics there, they are very flat. It's almost like they switched them off, or they're just importing a model, but the cape physics are still there, which kind of confused me a bit there. But definitely using, like you can see here, I think they're trying to work out how to use the original animations from the Ezio games with the tree running. That's what I think it is. They're working on the tree physics here. You notice how when he grabs the branch, it doesn't actually move, which is different from what we'll see later on. So in this clip, we have a comparison, I think, between the walk cycle that Ezio and Connor are going to have and how their cloth physics react with the rest of the world. I don't know if it is just the low resolution here, but it looks like Connor has like tassels on the sides of his arms, which is a design element that obviously isn't in the final game, and I don't even think is in the alpha suit. I'm pretty sure the tassels are just on his back. If you're wondering what this thing is here, this is a crossbow, which is also awkwardly clipping out of the Ezio from Brotherhood model, which has different coloured coattails. There's something about this Ezio model. I don't know what this Ezio model is from. It looks different, and I don't trust it. But yeah, you can see the coattails there. They're actually clipping through his legs at some points. They haven't properly figured out what they're doing there. You can see even the head. Look, the hood is clipping through his head as well. A lot of people commented on my video reacting to the alpha footage saying, oh, the whole thing was CGI. That outfit was never meant to appear. It was all just a proof of concept. And yes, that's right. And like the animations were just using the Ezio model. But this proves right here that at some point they were using that system still. Just because that trailer or that footage was CGI doesn't mean that at some point they did consider just porting over what they'd already been working on. Yeah, you can see those are tassels. They are properly moving. And look, he's even got hood animation. Look at that. The hood is bobbing up and down when he moves. And it's a much looser hood as well. It doesn't actually look like it's got the beak at all. This is pretty cool. So we're seeing like Connor's outfit in the Brotherhood architecture. They're still using the buildings from Rome. I've just thought of something. I am being foolish. Maybe the reason they're using the Brotherhood robes and not the Revelations ones, because this was made in tangent with Revelations. Like, they're working on these games years ahead of time. We know that the earliest build of Unity was like 2012, I think it was. So, like, maybe Revelations just wasn't out. That's why I was wondering this earlier. They're using the same fonts and UI elements from Brotherhood, and maybe that's because it was just the most recent game. I think the same team as well. I'm not too familiar with the early dev teams. I don't know if the same team that did Brotherhood did Revelations and 3, or if they alternate. No, they did alternate, didn't they? Revelations was done by a different team. This is cursed. This is the AC2 version of Ezio's... What the... After a couple of pints. Really cool to see Ezio's robes without the long coattails. I actually don't hate it. I think this is a pretty decent, like, design for him. Why he's drunkenly moving, I have no idea. Maybe someone in the comments can fill us in on what that's meant to be. I think this is meant to be testing death animations. I was a bit unsure, like, what this could be with the wireframes and stuff. They're clearly testing out some sort of physics with the architecture. It looks to be what this is testing, the ragdoll physics. Which you don't often see in Assassin's Creed games. It really is just when you parkour and fail. I've always felt like Assassin's Creed has very rigid movement in the earlier games. So to see it be so fluid and like interacting with objects, like whenever someone throws something at you, you actually like recoil, is not something you really see. Like not to this extent as well. Like when he walked past this block, watch this block. He lifts his arm up to move past, which is something we saw in the previous video. Yeah, so I think that same move with the cube, if you keep an eye out here, look what he does with that track. That animation there, I think is exactly what we've just seen there. I don't know why they're using the AC2 model. Maybe it's because they can see the legs, or like the skeleton of him easier. That's why they've removed the coattails, so you can see where his legs are landing. But come on, guys. You designed the AC2 suit incredibly well, so you can actually see where his feet are. Give yourselves a bit more credit. Maybe this is... Oh, this is testing the stairs out. Okay, so this is testing like different heights of geometry. Ah, and this is what I was talking about in my last video as well. I was saying how Connor's outfit had to have been adjusted to accommodate for the fact that we're working on like a 360 movement system here. This isn't just like Ezio runs forward or he moves like around to the side, but he's always moving forward. This is a bit like what we've seen in like Black Ops 6, like, you know, the Omni movement system? That's kind of what you're getting with AC3, where you can strafe to the sides, and we're seeing the early versions of that here with the way that Ezio's moving, and I actually really like that. It looks a little bit better. And here, of course, is some of our only footage of the pre-production outfit with the cape on it. I showed this very briefly in the previous video because I didn't really spend too much time talking about outfit in motion, but look at the way it's moving. The cape has been fully accommodated for, and really interesting, look at the running cycle. That's not Connor's running animation, and it's also not Ezio's. It's the multiplayer. This is the way the multiplayer characters run. It's the multiplayer character running animation. Maybe the multiplayer had a better system we could use? In terms of strafing, it definitely did. You can see, especially when I've been playing like Black Flag's multiplayer recently, you can see the strafing is a lot more fluid and quicker than it is in AC3 and 4. And they're kind of testing that there with the geometry. You can tell they're really committed to doing this like strafing animation to the point where they've gotten someone in the studio to do a bit of mocap. You can see here a bit of mocap with the alpha outfit, and they're testing out the pushing people aside as well. And this is how it looks in the final game. You've got different heights of geometry because he's on a hill, which they were testing earlier with Ezio's robes, the AC2 version of Ezio, and you're seeing it here. And this is pretty much, I think, how the final game looks. He's actually even got a little bit of animation on the hood there. You see how the beak of the hood is bobbing up and down. I'm not sure what this is. This could be maybe like speed tests or different animations as well. Look at that. That top one there is more how Connor moves compared to how like Ezio moves. They could be testing out. See, this is the sort of thing, right, that I think Mirage needed. Like, I hate to bring it back to Mirage, but like Mirage's animations look so janky when they're moving. You can tell they didn't do this part where they tested out just the way that people actually move. Yeah, so you can see there also they mocapped all of this to test how the jumps would work and the distances that Connor could jump. So they did have to like feasibly think of this. There is a vast majority of this behind-the-scenes footage that is dedicated to the animals, and obviously, like, I don't think it's the most engaging content in the world to talk about the animals in the game, but I do appreciate, like, look here, we also get a really good look at the the pre-production suit. We get a really good look at that one here, and I gotta say, I like it the more I look at it, like with the cape and everything. This is a great outfit, and a lot of people recommend it as well, something that I agree with. This outfit would work amazing as like a generic colonial assassin, like if these were the Brotherhood robes, and Connor's was like more of a hero, sort of. You can tell when a character upgrades from being a side character to a main character. Something has to shift in their design to give them more of the hero archetype, and I think that's what this suit kind of fails at. I didn't mention that in that video, but it is something I thought about afterwards. This suit doesn't feel like the hero of the game, it feels like an assassin in the game, compared to what we'd see with Connor's final look. After this, we get the actual gameplay prototype, which we've already seen. And then this here, although this looks like it's the final game, it's actually not. This is just a test of the crowd simulations, right? Look how detailed this is compared to the final release. I mean, it's not very detailed, it's in like 480p. But you can see how many more people there is on screen. There's absolutely loads of crowds. This is something I think that the remaster could have done a really good job of, is if it just added more crowd sims. And also Connor's outfit, there are some subtle differences. It's white. It's not off-white, it's just white. And it also doesn't have... You know how Connor's coattails, right? They have these like buttons at the back where you can tell the blue piece of the coat is separate from the white piece. And it always bugs me because I hate it so much. I don't know if, like, some people might like that it has separate layers, and I should like that it has separate layers. I'm the guy who's always ranting on about layers in the outfits. But I actually much prefer what I'm seeing on screen now, where it's just one solid piece, because that's how it looks like it's gonna be, and it's kind of weird that... It looks like a mistake is what I'm saying. It looks like the physics aren't working properly when they are, and that's how it's been designed, but I don't know. Then we've got an early version of the Bunker Hill mission. This is pretty much what the game was advertised around, like the whole E3 cinematic trailer and all that stuff. It was all centered, even the story trailer, and I believe some of the historical stuff they did beforehand, it was all about Bunker Hill. So you can tell this was one of the main set pieces that they wanted to get right. In my opinion, they seemed a little bit limited by what they could do. It was not a great sequence. It was clearly like a compromise, like toned down. If they were doing it today, it would have been a massive scale war, like what we saw with Odyssey and its like battles and stuff like that. You know, the Spartan and Athenian battles. I think that's more of what we would have seen, but it's 2012. Clearly, they were very ambitious on what they could and couldn't do. They were just working out realistically, how could Connor get from one side to the other? And that makes perfect sense. You can also see the UI is starting to resemble AC3 a lot more, especially on this side. So to finish off, we're looking at a really rough version, right? This is still in the alpha build. This is not even in beta yet. But this is like, I think, a proof of concept that the animation systems could work. This is everything they were working on throughout the entirety of this video compiled. Like, this is what they want the final release to look like. We've got the ground being at different heights, we've got the new running animations, we've got the crowd simulations. You can see there how the blending in is going to work, the social stealth, new climbing animation. Assassin's Creed 3, whether you love or hate the parkour system in AC3, the amount of new animations and the overhaul it did to the way that movement works in this game. It might not feel good, but it looks amazing, and I still say to this day that, like, maybe it's outdone by Unity, but AC3 still looks great when you're parkouring around. Like, the actual look of it is amazing, and you feel Connor's weight and his size and his power. You feel that in every move he makes, and I think it's a really well animated character compared to, like, I'm gonna say this. I'm not a fan of the way like Edward and Shay like sort of copy a lot of Connor's moves, because it feels like a bigger character, but they don't look it. Like, Edward does a lot of the same moves that Connor does, and it doesn't feel realistic or believable. It looks like they've just ported over a lot of the animations. Like, a lot of the Tomahawk animations become his dual sword animations, and they don't look as good. They look like it's been ported across. It doesn't look like an intentional thing for the character. The best animations for Edward are the ones that actually take the dual swords into account and don't just treat them like a tomahawk. And, oh god, this is that terrible lock-on system as well. What the? Wait a minute, this isn't in the final game. Oh my god, can you imagine if you had the option to drop kick someone? This would have been a 10 out of 10 game. There would not have been any question about it. I want to drop kick someone. Someone mod this back in. Yeah, so we're getting some combat stuff here. I always love this sword kill. This kill animation with the sword, I have no idea if it makes sense. I have no idea what he's even doing, but it looks cool. Just rolling with the sword, like, I don't know what he's doing in there. I don't know if, like, mid-animation he's, like, cutting this guy up or what. What is going on in there right now? I don't know, but it looks cool. You can tell with these kill animations, right, that they're, like, still on board for this, like, extreme, shaky camera, like, zoom in, like, very stylized kill animations. Kind of what we saw in Revelations. I never liked the, like, random slow-mo they did at the end of the Revelations kills. I much preferred how it looked in AC3. So that's interesting. So that pretty much concludes our look at the AC3 alpha and beta gameplay footage. It kind of gives you a better insight on what they were planning for Assassin's Creed 3. And to be fair to them, about 90% of what we saw here today is in the final release, and there's not really that much cut content aside from some outfit physics and maybe the way, like, we didn't look at it in this video, but I've seen another little clip where the trees, when you were tree running, would actually move. They would bounce, like, as you would step on them. And I think that's maybe the only thing that seems like a limitation that they couldn't do. Everything else, hats off to them. They came out here with time and a goal, and they achieved it. So, hey, and what we got was still my favourite Assassin's Creed game to this day. So what did you think of the early version of AC3? What would have been your ideal version of AC3? Should they have stuck with the old movement system? Should they have added the drop kick? If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe for more Assassin's Creed content, and I will see you in the next video. I'm recording this video at the same time as the last one, and I've actually just took my hoodie off so it doesn't look like I've done that. But now you know.